York City has 520 miles of waterfront, and Hurricane Sandy showed us just how vulnerable these neighborhoods can be. Unfortunately, rising sea levels and extreme weather events are going to become more and more common, and it's just something that the city has to be prepared for. The city does have in place a comprehensive coastal protection plan and is working with state and federal partners to implement it. In the meantime, homeowners that live near or in a flood zone can be prepared for climate change by getting an elevation certificate.
So we're going to head over to Broad Channel and do an elevation certificate for somebody's home. An elevation certificate is a report on the results of an elevation survey.
During an elevation survey, a land surveyor collects various measurements of your home. For example, they measure the height of the ground outside the building, the elevations of floors, including basements and crawl spaces, and the location of machinery, such as boilers and air conditioners. When you get your elevation certificate, you will see the height of your home compared to something called the base flood elevation, or the BFE. The base flood elevation is how high water is expected to rise during a serious storm. By comparing the height of your lowest occupied floor with the base flood elevation, FEMA can determine a property's flood risk and calculate the flood insurance premium. Typically, the lower the elevation of the property, the higher the risk of flooding and the higher the insurance costs.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike. I work for Gayron and Bruin Land Surveying. How do you do today?
Flood risk is a popular topic here in town. We're surrounded by water and everything was okay until Hurricane Sandy. We had 4.5 feet of water in our house here. We pretty much were wiped out.
So whether you had damage from Hurricane Sandy or not, an elevation certificate is something that you're going to want to have. It's really the only way to understand what the full risk is to your property. And just as important is how FEMA sets the full risk rate premium for your property as well.
Drawing a quick sketch of the building here. I'm going to set a couple of benchmarks, locate them with my GPS, put elevations on them, and from that I can calculate the latitude and longitude of the house. So now all I'm going to do is take various measurements at the key points. Typically, the certificate is given to the homeowner. We do not hand it off to anybody else unless the homeowner instructs us to do so. FEMA and their related insurance brokers will use the certificate to determine flood insurance premiums. The benefit to the homeowner would be it gives them an idea of where their property is in relation to these base flood elevations in FEMA's firm. They don't have to use the certificate for anything, but it is something that if they go to sell the home, they can at least also say to the potential new buyer, we've had an elevation certificate done.
Premiums are going up for a lot of households in New York, and it's important for us to understand just how much they're going to increase, so we can have a plan that helps us all be physically safe and financially resilient.
So we just finished surveying Tom's house. It took about 45 minutes, which is a typical survey. Typically, we do need to gain access to the inside of the house. A lot of times, if there is a crawl space or a basement, we may not be able to gain access through the outside of the house. What we will try to do is lessen the amount of time a homeowner needs to be on site, and we can schedule a time where it takes 10 minutes for us to run in, run out, and then they can be on their way, and then we can finish our work without them. They don't need to prepare any kind of deeds or mortgages.
I would say do it. It's painless, there's nothing invasive, and it's something that we're all going to need.